In the quiet jungles of suburbia, where cul-de-sacs loop like rivers and the scent of grilled hot dogs mingles with fresh mulch, a battle silently rages on. A battle marked only by foam. Bright, squeaky, utterly harmless foam. But do not be mistaken, dear viewer. This is war. This is Nerf. These are not your typical warriors. They are children, usually ages 6 through 13, high on fruit snacks, adrenaline, and resentment that won't be processed until a therapy session in their mid-20s. They move with purpose, ducking behind lawn chairs, belly crawling across sprinklers, shouting at kids named Braden. And at the centre of this pint-sized battlefield lies an object of pure reverence: the foam-flinging loadout. It defines them, shapes them. The Nerf blaster becomes a form of self-expression in moulded polymer. It says what you're willing to do to hold the high ground behind the shed. The loadout is chosen with the same intensity that ancient warriors choose swords, or modern influencers choose ring lights. You see the types immediately. There's the dual pistol kid, running low to the ground like some foam-wielding raccoon, dive rolling into bushes, dual-wielding with all the accuracy of an underage stormtrooper. He hits nothing, but by God does he look cool doing it. Then the heavy, the child tank, 8 years old, wearing his dad's fishing vest, lugging a Vulcan like he's prepping to breach a bounce house in Baghdad. Next, the sniper, antisocial, calculated, perched in a second-floor window via his older brother's bedroom with a long-shot CS6, claiming he can hit someone all the way on the trampoline. And then the modder, a terrifying outlier and omen of the future. This one isn't here to play. Oh no, he's here to test what foam can do under duress. He brings a screwdriver, a soldering iron, and the haunted stare of someone who's already voided their warranty. His blaster hisses when it fires. No one knows why. It shoots faster, farther, harder. He is 11, practically an adult in cul-de-sac years. He is dangerous and has no moral compass. But among them, one warrior stands alone, the minimalist. He carries only a foam dart blaster. And no, it's not Nerf branded. Its brand is, well, foam dart blaster. Fresh from the dollar store. One pathetic limp shot. No attachments, no baggage. And somehow, against all odds, he wins every time. Some say he's a prodigy. Others believe he modded the blaster in secret. But in reality, it is simply the grit of growing up in a low-income household. He waits. He strikes. He disappears. He is a legend. All of this, of course, unfolds beneath the surface of normalcy. Parents sip coffee on patios, unaware that their backyard is now an active combat zone. And through it all, a cruel truth becomes clear. Some kids just have better gear. These kids didn't earn the better gear, however. It's just that their parents simply love them more. And, well, because the market hasn't crashed yet. But still, many are out there like the minimalist, and not all as skilled as he. Indeed, others suffer. Their grandmothers don't know the difference between a Busby, an X-Shot, or some other off-brand rubbish. All they know is that there is what appears to be a Nerf gun near the counter when she picks up her prescription. They're given weapons so weak the darts fall before reaching their target, with an arch so strong that it would put McDonald's to shame. Still, they play and fight valiantly, because in this world, foam is thicker than blood. Alliances form and dissolve. A best friend at noon is a double agent by 12:03. The neighbour kid says he's just reloading and returns 10 minutes later with a new mod and dead eyes. And when it ends, when the dusk sets in and someone's mom yells from the porch that the pizza rolls are ready, the warriors trudge off the field like nothing ever happened. The Scout IX-3 goes back in the drawer. The bandana comes off. They pretend they are children again. But something inside them has changed. 100 dart scars. 1,000 betrayals. A full afternoon without blinking. They stare at their blaster, laid to rest beside a tangle of socks and empty Capri Sun. The loadout becomes everything. If the loadout is identity, then the rules of engagement are what hold this chaos together. At least, that's the idea. Because no matter how intense the loadout, how carefully selected the sidearm, how many Velcro darts a child tapes to his arm in a moment of misguided genius, it all rests on a single flimsy promise that everyone is playing fair. But as they will soon learn, life is not fair. They circle up near the garden hose or the cracked pavement of a driveway chalk map. The code is recited. They nod. No headshots. The first and most noble of all rules. Everyone agrees. A treaty forged by middle schoolers using the honor system. What could go wrong? But then someone pops up from behind the patio furniture. Half a torso exposed, and all the blaster finds is forehead. The dart connects. The child flinches, and the shooter offers the sacred ancient defense. It was an accident, but it was no accident. The game continues, because no one wants to be that kid. The one who ruins it by insisting the pesky rules actually matter. And so we come to the second law. No shooting while someone's reloading. A rule designed to preserve the illusion of sportsmanship. That war, even when fought with foe, contains a sense of dignity. But dignity means nothing when you've got 3 darts left and Brett Fennerty is crouched behind the garbage can, trying to refill his 6-shot Maverick. Someone fires. He screams. Nobody says anything. Because in this world, reloading is nothing more than a weakness to be exploited. And then there's the myth of fair teams. Ah yes, that most laughable of all childhood illusions. Someone, usually the oldest or the one with the most blasters, takes charge. We'll split it evenly, he says, already choosing all the fast kids, all the loud kids, and the kid whose older brother taught him how to aim. The rest are handed a handful of foam darts and told to hold the left side. The left side is a kill zone. It always is. Within minutes, the cries begin. But no one switches. Why would they? They're winning, technically. What armor, you ask? A cardboard vest? A JanSport backpack? Or better yet, an invisible force field? Some sprint to the garage mid-match and return with a super soaker, violating not just the spirit of Nerf law, but its entire weapon classification. There are no consequences. For some reason, it's allowed. And this is all child's play compared to the ultimate transgression, betrayal. It always begins the same way. 2 players, allies. They clear the swing set together. They push up to the slide. One turns to reload. The other raises their blaster. There is no warning. Sometimes it's a cousin. Sometimes a best friend. Once, in a tale still whispered across schoolyards, it was a twin brother. Betrayal is inevitable. Expected. Respected even, if pulled off with sufficient drama. Just like modern dating. And yet, through all the broken promises, the phone-based betrayals, the courtroom-level arguments about whether that dart hit or grazed, no one stops playing. Because these rules were never meant to be followed. Every child understands this instinctively. Victory tastes better than honor, and so the war goes on. By day, the suburban battlefield is open and sprawling, but by night, the terrain changes. The battlefield shrinks, walls close in, carpet replaces grass, and suddenly the Nerf war becomes something darker and more personal, a closed quarters fray. At first, it seems like any other evening. Barbecue chips, VHS tapes, that one kid that falls asleep too early and gets a face full of Sharpie. But beneath the surface, there is tension. Every smile hides a plan, because at some point, maybe at 10 p.m., maybe earlier, a Nerf war spreads like wildfire. Within minutes, all trust and camaraderie evaporates. The basement, the guest room, all become war zones, and the hallway light off, always off. This is different than the backyard. It is a war of shadows and whispered strategy. Someone always brings a flashlight. They think it will help. They are wrong. It gives away position. It blinds allies. It attracts the melee kid. And there's always a melee kid. He shows up with a foam sword, or worse, a homemade PVC pipe baton wrapped in duct tape. You hear him coming down the hallway at full sprint, yelling something incoherent about honor as he swings wildly in the dark, ready to cause concussions. The melee kid has no allies, only targets. But this battle in the night is how many a conflict will be settled. Who gets the top bunk? Who gets the best controller? Who gets first pick at pancakes in the morning? All decided with foam. Eventually, though, it's over. Nobody wins or loses. Cody's parents simply told them to keep it down. And thus, the campaign is done. For now. Darts are gathered half-heartedly from under couches. Pillow barriers are dismantled. The melee weapon is quietly returned to its duffel bag, never discussed again. They lie on sleeping bags, eyes wide, every shadow a potential ambush. And though they're friends again, the damage is done. Nobody can be trusted. As the years pass, the rush of combat fades into memory. The Nerf blasters are retired, tucked away in forgotten closets, covered in dust and the faint odour of childhood ambition. But something else remains. Something older. Something other than the plastic shells of old blasters. Because for many kids, Nerf was a philosophy. It was the first time they ever held power in their hands. Oh yes, in the delicate balance of Nerf combat, many children, far younger than any general or elected official, and perhaps even more mature, learned the principles of leadership, strategy, and most importantly, the staggering weight of betrayal. They led teams. They commanded respect. They overthrew their friends just for bragging rights. Leadership in Nerf wars was earned, not granted. It was about taking charge in a vacuum of authority and filling it with your own sense of control. And when you made the wrong call, when you were outflanked, outsmarted, or outgunned, it was a failure, a feeling millennials and Gen Z will need to get used to. For the first time, kids were forced to experience humiliation, the bitter reality that sometimes, no matter how many foam darts you load, no matter how many ambushes you plan, you will lose, even when you do everything right. But you see, Nerf taught us about playing people as much as it taught us about playing games. And that's where it all begins to make sense. The petty rivalries, the alliances that break like wet cardboard, the betrayals that come too fast and too often. Mutiny takes shape in voice chats, Reddit forums, and yes, cheating spouses. Nerf was just the beginning, the testing grounds for the human condition in the digital age. But just like those backyard skirmishes, we will survive this too. The drive to win, no matter what. That's the fire. The foam-flinging generation finds itself at a strange crossroads. The scars still remain, the perfect microcosm of suburban masculinity, the need to conquer, to lead, to prove your worth. The Nerf generation learned how to play with chaos and how to navigate the absurdly fragile structures we build around our identities. The wars are over, but the memories still leave welts. The 30-something drinking coffee before his white-collar job sees flashbacks of getting pelted in the face by a dart, double-crossed by Andrew, or getting beaten by the melee kid. He recoils, his heart pounds, but it serves as his motivation to close the sale at today's meeting. This is Nerf. Maybe we outgrew the foam, but we never outgrew the war.